Okay, so now we're going to show you how to set the partial close, right? Don't forget partial close, the volume must be larger than 0.01. As we have over here, the smallest volume is 0.01. So assuming I set a trade of 0.02, now I can do a partial close. Now let's assume whether it's a sell or buy, it doesn't matter, right? Let's assume we click on either of them. Now we have a position here running. As you can see it, this is the trade that we just took with a volume of 0.02. Now let's assume the trade has moved in our favor. Don't forget, we don't have stop loss and take profit set here. That is the first trade technique that we just talked about not too long ago. Now, what if we want to close this partially? It has moved in our favor. What do we now do? We'll simply right click on that trade and then we click on modify. But we are not trying to modify that trade, right, in order to set the stop loss and take profit, but instead we're trying to what? We're trying to close part of it, partial close. And this is the manual way, by the way. So we click on market execution and then you can see close at the bottom here. So now we're going to change the volume to 0.01. This simply means that we're closing 0.01, part of it, right? By the time we click on close, look at what happens. The volume here, over here, will now change from 0.02 to 0.01. So let's click on close, and then you have it, 0.01. We have closed part of that trade, right? And then you can do the same thing. Once it moves again in your favor, you can decide to right click and then click on close. Since this is the remaining volume that we have, we click on close order and then that trade has gone. Now, what if we have a volume? Let's place a trade. Let's place another trade here. But this time around, let's use a bigger volume. Let's use like 0.05 and then we click on sell. Now we have the volume at 0.05. Now I want to close this 3 times. That means that most likely I'm going to close it 0.02, 0.02, and 0.01 in any order that I like. So what do? We right click on that trade and then we click on what? Modify. But then we know what we want to do is hit the market execution here. And then we can now decide to change the volume that we want to close. Want to close 0.02. So by the time we do this, the volume that we're going to have here is going to remain 0.03. So let's close this and see. Close. Now we have 0.03 remaining. So this is what we're going to be doing here in order to do partial close. And of course, we can do the same thing again the manual way, modify or edit or delete rather, market execution. And then this time around, let's close 0.01. By the time we do this, over here is going to remain 0.02. So we click on close and then 0.02. Voila, that's what we have, right? Now, this time around, let's close this. This time around, what we want to do, we want to place 3 trades. We want to place 3 trades and then use 3 different take profit values. So this is now the automatic way. For the automatic way, we're going to break that trade into 3, assuming this is 0.01 I want to use. So that means that we're going to have 0.01, 0.01, and 0.01, making 0.03. So what I'll do, I'll click on this cell 3 times, 1, 2, 2, and then 3. All right, so now you can see over here, we have the trade running, 1, 2, 3. I can see because we did it fast enough, we entered at the same exact price, right? So now for the take profit, you remember how to set take profit. Your take profit is going to be lower for a sell position. So if your take profit is like 1 point, maybe your first take profit, because we're going to be having 3 different take profits. Now the first take profit will probably be about 1.31600 thereabout. So what do we do for this first one? We right click and then click on modify, and then we set the take profit to be 1.31, let's call it 560. So we click on modify, And then we have the first take profit for this first one. And then for the second one, we want to set it at maybe 1.31470, right? This is just showing you the concept so that you know how to use it the proper way. For the take profit, what do? We set the take profit at 1.31470 and then modify. Now you can see the second take profit here. And then the third one, we set it at 1.31340. So we come here, right click on this trade here, right click on modify, and then on the take profit, what do? 1.31340 and then modify. Great. So now you can see that we have placed 3 trades, meaning that we broke that trade down into 3, and you can do this for any volume whatsoever. So this simply means, of course, stop loss is the most important aspect. So you need to set the same stop loss for all of them, right? Assuming your stop loss is 1.31855 over here. The same thing applies. Right click, modify, stop loss 1.31855. That is the stop loss here, the first one. And then the second one here, right click, modify. The same thing applies, 1.31855, and then you click on modify again. And then for the third one, ensure not to forget any, just in case it doesn't go in your favor. You need to protect your account. And then 1.31855 again, and then you click on modify. Great. So now we've just set the stop loss again for this trade 3 times, and then this time around TP1, TP2 and TP3 have been set, right? So it is up to the market to do what it wants to do. Now this is for partial close. This is for partial close.